Billions of years ago, the Big Bang happened. However, that's really irrelevant for this project.
We're only going 4.2 million years back to when people looked like apes, like Planet of the Apes.
But you're so damned ugly.
First came the Australopithecus anamensis. They lived 4.2 to 3.9 million years ago. They were basically bipedal chimpanzees who were found in northern Kenya.
They weren't very bright, so they used sticks and plants as tools. Their brains were about the size of a modern chimp. Males competed against each other, and there was some polyamorous action going on. Next on our list is Australopithecus afarensis. They were also pretty ugly, to say the least. They were 105 to 151 centimeters tall, meaning that I was taller than them. They lived 3.85 to 2.95 million years ago.
Their brain size was usually less than 500 cc.
They lived in small social groups with men and women. Their fossils were discovered in Hadar, Ethiopia.
Starting with the Homos, we have Homo habilis, the handyman. He had a brain size of 610 cc and short legs. They were alive for 2.4 to 1.4 million years ago. Their fossils were found in Tanzania.
Small brains and short legs, just what I want in a man. That way they can't run from me. They were the first to use stone tools and hunt with them. They also had cultural activities and were aware of sickness.
Homo erectus, the straightest of them all, lived 1.89 million to 143,000 years ago in Asia, where in Indonesia their fossils were found.
They had long legs and a brain of 930 cc's. They used fire and made stone and bone tools. Socially, they were compassionate. Moving on, Homo heidelbergensis was alive 700,000 to 200,000 years ago. They resided in Europe and possibly Asia. Their fossils showed up in Germany first, though.
They were relatively tall and had a brain size of 1,250 cc. They had modified stone and bone tools, and they used fire, and perhaps they were the first to use clothing.
They lived in social groups and ate together around a fire and had possible rituals.
Homo floresiensis, the real hobbit, lived 100,000 to 50,000 years ago in Indonesia. They were chinless and first discovered in Ling Buau Cave, Flores, in Indonesia.
Their brain was really small at 380 cc's, and they were really short. They could control fire and use stone tools.
They had the capacity of speech and could interact with one another, as well as being good hunters.
Homo neanderthalis, who couldn't control themselves around human and fathered a few, lived 400,000 to 40,000 years ago. Fossils were found in Germany.
They lived in Europe and Asia. They were short and stocky, with brains of 1,500 cc, which is bigger than ours. They could control fire, lived in shelters, and made clothing and objects. Homo sapiens, us, we have been alive since 200,000 years ago and still going strong. We evolved in Africa and made our way worldwide.
Our brains are 1,350 cc's and our limbs are thinner than our ancestors, but we all have different body types.
We can control fire, build complicated structures, metalwork, and have more refined tools.
Socially, we are quite complex because we interact in different ways with one another and our surroundings. Our social network is broad. Artistically and musically, we advance more. We have death rituals, bury our dead, have personal adornments, and place significance on material things.
Since we have to mention a bottleneck, here's one. 60,000 to 30,000 years, there was a significant climate change in Africa, which decimated the human population and we were almost extinct.
We also have to talk about founder effect. The Amish are an example. They live in small communities isolated from regular people. Some have extra toes because of inbreeding in the community.